Welcome to the Weekend Roundup, where I'm Leighton and I am Peter Apple. We do a recap of all of the series from the weekend that was here on the Just Baseball Show. It is Monday, August 12th. You laughed a little bit when I did the Weekend Roundup. Jack makes me feel good because he buys into it and he even does a little thing with his hands. You just sit there and laugh at me like I'm
No,
some big idiot.
I would have been. I haven't done it with you in a while, so I fully forgot. So it just caught me off guard a little bit. No, next time I will play along. I
Next
just
time,
wasn't ready for that. It's 8 o'clock on a Sunday, dude.
all I need is the little figure. The
Oh,
Weekend Roundup. We're back into it. And again, we're going to recap the series that were, and it is all brought to you by BetMGM, the king of sportsbooks. And remember, folks, use code JustBaseball when you download on iOS or Android, and you'll get a first bet offer back up to $1,500 if it were to lose. So guess what happens? You place a wager after using code JustBaseball. If it loses, you'll get that amount that you put on it up to $1,500 back in bonus bets. And if it wins, congratulations. You want to bet. I wish I could win some more freaking bets, because remember how I gave out Dylan Cease to
yeah.
win Cy Young, and then he got crushed by the Marlins? We're going to
Hey,
talk
only
about
two
that.
earned though. Only two earned.
Was it only 2 earned? That could actually save me a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I wouldn't have known that if I didn't have that series on the roundup when I went to the box score. I was like, oh, okay, only two earned.
Okay.
So could have been he looked not good at all.
Yeah, at all.
We'll get to that, but like, yeah, I was gonna make a joke that your bet was dead, and then I saw only two earned. So we're still fighting for life there.
Speaking of bets, shameless plug off the top. I started a new NFL YouTube channel. So
Mm-hmm.
this is the Just Baseball Show. We're focusing on baseball only because it's in the name. But I do bet on the NFL, and I think I do a pretty damn good job. 3 straight profitable seasons. So I started an NFL YouTube page. It's called Just Gridiron Fans. I put my first bet out there, a 3-unit play on an NFL win total under. So go check that out. But again, this is the Just Baseball Show, and we're recapping the weekend that was. I have 8 series that I summarized. Going to throw it over to Aram for his takeaway. Then Aram's going to finish up the last 7 series and throw it over to me for my takeaway. And we're going to start in our nation's capital. The Angels took on the Nationals, and in game 1, it was all Nats, winning 3-2 in 10 innings. The Angels scored 2 in the first off a Joe Adele home run, and that was it. Jose Soriano was fantastic for them. Again, 6 innings,
Yeah.
1 earned, 7 strikeouts. His ERA is down to 3.36. And of course, you got Mitchell Parker leading the way, 6 1/3, no earned. He did give up 8 hits, but he struck out 5. And Alex Call reached on an infield single in the 10th to win it for Washington. We moved to game 2, where the Nationals win in another barn burner, 5-4 in 10 innings. James Wood started the scoring for Washington with a bomb. He also had an RBI double. Zach Neto for the Angels had a home run to give the Angels a lead, but the Nationals battled back. And Jose Tena, RBI single in the 10th to win it. Now, Patrick Corbin wasn't any good, but Griffin Canning gave the Angels 7 innings of 4-run ball. Game 3, Angels had to get a win here to avoid the sweep, and they did, winning 6-4. And the Angels actually had a 5-0 lead after 4 innings, even though Mackenzie Gore didn't allow an earned run. It was your classic Sunday matchup between the Nationals and the Angels. He had 6 walks, and it was a comedy of errors. That's a Shakespeare reference for all those who say I'm not cultured. Jacob Young, home run, started a late comeback, but it wasn't enough. Jack Kohanowicz, I think I pronounced that
I
correctly.
think
That
it's
was,
Kachanowicz. I'm not positive,
I'm,
so
I think it's Kohanowicz,
I believe you then.
but regardless, 7 2/3, 2 earned, lowers ERA to 7.98. Nationals win the series, move to 54 and 65. Angels fall to 52 and 66. How was that first one for the roundup?
I mean, you couldn't have started with like a more random
I
series, so
know.
it's perfect. I don't have a ton to take away from here. I know Neto finished the series kind of like not great with an 0 for 4, but like he's been awesome. I just wanted to highlight that, like a 3-hit day, a home run the day before, like continuing to play good ball. We talked about it like in some of the pre-arb deal side of things. And then James Woods like starting to really settle in too. Mackenzie Gore, probably one of the weirdest stat lines you'll see, going 4 innings, walking 6, but not allowing an earned run. And then Kachanowicz, whatever it may be. Not bad. I honestly don't think he's that bad. Like I think he can be a 5. At least in this
Great.
outing, he especially looked like that. We'll see. But man, yeah, I'm not really that eager to watch either of these teams play. I can't lie.
Yeah, not particularly. Let's move to the Yankees versus the Rangers. This is a good series. The first game got postponed due to rain, so we had a doubleheader on Saturday. Yankees won the first game 8-0 in blowout fashion, and their offense went crazy. The middle of the lineup, Juan Soto, Aaron Judge, Austin Wells, names you've been hearing about all season long. They combined to go 6 for 12 with 6 RBIs and 4 runs scored. Also, shout out Jazz Chisholm for hitting a bomb. And Carlos Rodon has been coming into form lately. 5 2/3, 0 earned runs, 6 punchies. We get to game 2 of the doubleheader where the Rangers exact revenge, winning 9-4. Cody Bradford looked great, silenced that offense. 5 innings, 1 earned, 7 strikeouts. Giancarlo Stanton and Jazz Chisholm again homered late, but this was all Texas. Josh Smith, Corey Seager, Wyatt Langford, Nate Lowe, Adolis Garcia, and Leody Taveras all had multiple hits, and Corey Seager had a home run. Now, Garrett Cole pitched great. This was all the Yankees bullpen getting destroyed, like Luke Weaver and Michael Tonkin. Garrett Cole, 5 1/3, 1 earned, 10 Ks. But again, bullpen could not.
Our two underrated guys, by the way, that
Luke
we
Weaver
both
and Michael
highlighted.
Tonkin.
We both highlighted. Gave up a combined. What was that? That'd be a combined
7 earned, I think.
8 earned.
8 earned.
Weaver and Tonkin. Our bad.
Baseball doesn't make any sense. All right, so yeah, Yankees lose game 2 of the doubleheader, and in the rubber match, Yankees win 8-7. It was a blowout for most of the game until it got dicey late. Soto homered twice, Stanton homered, and Judge hit his 299th home run of his career and his leading 42nd. And DJ LeMahieu also had 2 hits. Andrew Heaney, the pitcher for the Rangers, struggled, allowed 3 earned and 4 2/3. Stroman pitched well, and he needed it. 5 innings, 1 earned, and Clay Holmes, very sketchy at the end, but got a 4-out save for his 25th. Yankees win the series and move to 70-49. Rangers fall to 55-63. Aram, we've done a few podcasts lately highlighting a way that the Rangers can make the playoffs. But then on the weekend roundup, we keep talking about how they're losing series. It's just, it looks like it's coming to an end a little bit.
Yeah, they can't really lose another series. Like they've got to be taking 2 out of 3 pretty much every time out. I get this wasn't the easiest in the world with the doubleheader and playing in New York, and but yeah, the window's closing real quick. So if they don't get rolling quick here, it's going to be tough. I will say though, like the Yankees just they really swung it well this series, and I think getting Cole back obviously was really nice and helpful. Bullpen though, a little shaky right now. So the fact that they could overcome that, with a lot of their key guys not looking great. Clay Holmes throwing 45 pitches for a save is pretty crazy too. But I just want to highlight Austin Wells. Like we were talking about how his batted ball data, like how unlucky he was. You could just watch, even if you're not a big X stats guy. If you watch the first few months, that guy was getting hosed, and now it's starting to even out for him. He has been awesome.
Absolutely awesome. The amount of lineouts you saw early on, or the warning track flyouts, or even the hard hit ground balls where a defender on the infield would make that diving play. Like he was just getting robbed. And it's good to see the results finally start to hit. And those X stats, there's a little bit of validity to those. But also, if you just watched Austin Wells as well, that's kind of that combo of I'm watching him get unlucky. The stats say he's unlucky. Sooner or later, these balls are going to start to fall, and they are. And don't sleep on a potential American League Rookie of the Year award for Austin Wells potentially. I don't know.
It's kind of wide open.
It is kind of wide open. And we'll talk about it as the weeks progress. We just did an awards check-in, but we'll figure out another time to dive back into those odds. Let's go to Boston for the Astros and the Red Sox. And the Astros needed this one, and they got this one. Game 1, Astros win 8-4. Tanner Houck was great for the Red Sox. 6 innings, 1 earned, but the bullpen got blasted. Jose Altuve and Yanner Diaz homered. Alex Bregman and Jeremy Pena both had 3 hits each. Jonathan Singleton, Jake Myers, and Jordan all had multiple hits as well. And it was Ronel Blanco's second start of the year, only going 4 innings or less. Something you don't normally see, but the Astros still got the win. Excuse me. Game 2, Astros win 5-4. Astros scored all 5 of these runs on home runs. Jordan hit 2, Bregman hit 1, and Zach DeCenzo hit his first career home run. But arguably, this was the Spencer Arrighetti show. 7 innings, just 2 earned runs on 2 hits with 13 punch outs. Now, Yoshida and Danny Jansen, they also homered for the Red Sox, but it wasn't enough. And in game 3, did the Red Sox avoid the sweep? No. Astros blew them out 10-2. The Astros got a 10-0 lead after 6 innings. Bregman, 3-run home run again. Jordan homered again. Jeremy Pena again. Altuve and Pena both had 3 hits each. Hunter Brown did his job, 5 1/3, 2 earned, 9 Ks. But I think the story here is James Paxton. He only threw 5 pitches and limped off the mound. In a post-game presser, he said he felt a pop in his calf. Not good. And I quote, "I'll do whatever I can to get back out there before the end." Astros sweep the series and move to 62-55. Red Sox fall to 61-55.
That one stinks. They really had no chance once you lose your starter legitimately right away in the first inning. And it just, I feel for him. It just seems like injuries have really, really slowed him down. He's looked great through stretches over the last few years. And, he thought maybe reuniting with Boston there would be good for him. But Hunter Brown continues to look really good, and getting that ERA under 4, considering how ugly things were at a certain point this year, like that's a big X factor for them. Altuve starting to really heat up. Obviously, Jordan starting to really heat up. You mentioned they needed this. Sweeping, though, is really a momentum driver there, especially for a team that, is pretty much right neck and neck with you when you look at the, American League wild card situation. Of course, I think the division is the best spot for the Astros. But again, just a team that's right there with you. You dominate them for 3 games on their turf. I thought that was a statement for the Astros, who, continue to play good ball after the deadline.
100%. And they have to sweep basically the Red Sox to keep pace with the Mariners, who are playing really well against the Mets right now. Those 2 teams, it's like when the Mariners start to fall, so do the Astros. When the Astros start to heat up, so do the Mariners. Those 2 teams, they're just going to be battling until the end. That American League West race is fantastic. And the Red Sox, they're still playing good baseball. Like, they are 1 game below the Astros, even though they were just swept by the Astros. Yep. The Red Sox have had a fantastic season, and they got to keep winning games to keep pace. And this certainly was not the series that they did that. All right, let's go to the Oakland A's taking on the Toronto Blue Jays. Kind of a snoozer of a series, but we got to talk about it. Game 1, Blue Jays win 3-1. This was the Jose Barrios show. 7 innings, 1 earned, 8 strikeouts. George Springer had a home run in the first inning. Spencer Horwitz had a home run in the 8th. And the only A's run was a Darnell Hernandez. I just completely botched that. Darrell Hernandez? Daryl Hernandez?
Daryl Hernandez.
That's on me.
He was the return in the Cole Irvin trade.
Okay. Well, he's hitting a home run while Cole Irvin is not currently pitching right now for the Orioles. Game 2, A's win 1-0. Brent Rooker's 29th home run was the lone run for the A's as they win 1-0. Osvaldo Bido, 6 innings, 2 hits, no earned, 5 Ks. His ERA is down to 3.92. Yariel Rodriguez also pitched well for the Blue Jays. 5 2/3, 5 hits, 1 earned. ERA is down for him to 3.66. And in game 3, A's win 8-4 to win the series. They had a 6-run first inning highlighted by a J.J. Bleday homer, a Zach Geloff homer. Now, Dalton Varsho did homer for the Jays, but that offense struggled. J.P. Sears dominated 7 innings, 3 earned, but only on 3 hits. ERA down to 4.32, and Chris Bassett got bludgeoned by his former team, giving up 7 earned in 4 innings. A's win the series and move to 50-69. Blue Jays fall to 54-64. Didn't expect that on August 12th, the Blue Jays and the A's would only be a few games apart from each other.
Yeah, I mean, who would have thought? And just like having zero intrigue in that series as well. Like, with still a fair amount of games to go is just kind of a testament to how disappointing it's been for the Jays. But on the positive side, Yariel Rodriguez, since coming back from AAA, has been really good. 34 2/3 innings, a 3.38 ERA. Obviously, that's a guy that they need to throw well, not only this year, it doesn't really matter this year, but moving forward, because they need all the arms that they can get. So it's been nice to see him throw pretty well since returning. And then, Lawrence Butler, JJ Bleday, like those guys swinging well for the A's is quite a nice development as they just continue to try to find long-term big league pieces. And they're compiling them now all of a sudden. And that system's getting pretty good too.
I'm curious, as a Marlins fan who, JJ Bleday, former Marlin, goes over to the A's in an AJ Puck trade. I feel like you're not surprised to see this.
I'm not surprised that he's performing better and like finding a big league role. I honestly am surprised that he's doing as well as he is.
Mm.
Like, I don't know if I thought that he'd be among the league leaders in doubles and only striking out 18% of the time. But it's not like he's lighting the world on fire. So honestly, this doesn't surprise me anymore. Like,
Yeah,
get out of Miami and you got a better chance to hit. And no matter who you are, and I'm glad for Blade, man. Like, it's a lot of weight of being a top 5 pick and needing to succeed. So glad he's in a place where he can kind of just get a fresh start and perform. And I'm honestly surprised that he's performing the way he is as an everyday center fielder, though.
yeah,
That part's pretty crazy. So nice development for them. At least the Marlins were able to still flip puck and get something for him. But
true.
good for JJ Blade. I'm used to this by now.
You are. Good for JJ Bleday. All right, let's talk Orioles versus Rays. We're going down to the Trop for game 1. Orioles win 4-1. Zach Eflin, great again for the Orioles. 7 innings, 4 hits, no earned, 7 Ks. He's only allowed 5 earned runs in 19 and a third with Baltimore so far. Colton Cowser and Cedric Mullins both went yard. Dylan Carlson, his home run was the lone run for the Rays. He has an OPS over 1,000 since being acquired. Shout out Dylan Carlson. I always knew it was in there, and I'm taking my victory lap now because I don't know how much longer it's going to last.
It's already a good trade. He could not have another hit. It already was good.
Game 2, Orioles win 7-5. Orioles got out to a 4-0 lead, highlighted by a Jackson Holiday home run. Rays battle back tied up in the 7th, highlighted by a Jose Caballero home run. Now, Ramon Arias, it was his time. Go-ahead home run in the 8th inning. Corbin Burns was solid. 6 innings, 3 earned, 5 Ks. ERA down to 2.71. That was like one of his worst starts, I feel like, over the entire season with how good he has been. But Drew Rasmussen making his debut back from an injury. 1 inning, 3 earned. Not ideal. Game 3, Rays do not get swept. They win 2-1. Albert Suarez, though, I know the Rays won, but I think he was the star of the show. 6 2/3, 4 hits, 0 earned, 5 strikeouts. ERA for him is down to 3.39. What a story for Albert Suarez. Anthony Santander's homer was the only Orioles run. Shout out Dylan Carlson, RBI to tie it in the 7th, and Curtis Mead sac fly to go ahead and win in the 8th. Jeffrey Springs was solid. 5 innings, 1 run, 8 Ks. Orioles win the series and move to 70-49. Rays fall to 59-58. Another team that, if they want to make the playoffs, have to start winning series in the Tampa Bay Rays.
Yeah, I mean, it would be nice to see the Rays call up the top prospect in baseball in Junior Caminero, who homered on Sunday again at 16.
Are you sure he doesn't need to keep developing down there in AAA?
Yeah.
By far the best.
Yeah, he's got to keep working on hitting bombs every other game up there. So, or down there, I should say. But nice to see, Curtis Mead getting some run again. But I think that the most positive aspect of this whole thing for the Rays is the fact that Jeffrey Springs is back, as you mentioned, and getting Rasmussen back, right? 3rd elbow surgery, an internal brace procedure after 2 Tommy Johns. So, you're hoping that Rasmussen's only going to be in short work until the end of the year. Then they're going to try to build him back up as a starter next year. Obviously, Springs being used as a starter right away. They can look into next year and feel decent that they've got those 2 pieces there for them. But I think the fact that Baltimore has, Jackson Holiday up and doing what he's doing now and slugging and performing for them, like, this is exactly what they needed. And the development of Suarez being a legit arm for them too, with some of the injuries that they've had, like, we're seeing the Orioles start to pick it back up again and have certain pieces start to perform the way that they were hoping a little bit earlier. The only other guy that needs to potentially get rolling here is Kobe Mayo, and it's been really rough for him. But that's kind of house money at this point if Holiday's performing.
And speaking about Kobe Mayo, speaking about all these prospects, like, when Ramon Arias does well, like, I get fired up. Because imagine being in Ramon Arias's head.
Yeah.
Like, you're playing third base, and all you hear about is how the Orioles have 12 different guys who are 13 years old trying to steal your job. And just, you see Kobe Mayo come up, you see Jordan Westbrook, you see so many guys, and you know that you have to perform in every single AB that you have, or you will not have a job on the Baltimore Orioles, a team that has to be an absolute blast to play for, with all these young guys atop the division, never say die, nothing to lose type team. Shout out Ramon Arias. Like, that in his head, I feel like he's got to have some of the most pressure of a lot of players in Major League Baseball right now.
It's a tough job, especially because it's not even just a matter of the fact that those guys are gunning for your position. it's more of a matter of just when, not
Yeah,
if, like no matter what, it's how you perform is going to make it happen either sooner or you can delay it a little bit more. So yeah, he's been filling his role great. And that's the thing with the Orioles that I think goes really under the radar is even Mullins kind of being relegated into a complimentary role. Jorge Mateo before getting hurt, really relegated into the complimentary role. And those guys filling it, to the best of their ability and playing a huge part there has been really a big reason why they've been so awesome all year long.
100%. Let's go to Braves versus Rockies. Damn it, Braves. Damn it. Game one, Rockies win 6-5. Marcelo Ozuna, Brenton Doyle, Ramon Laureano, and Jorge Soler all homered. Now, the Rockies, they had a 5-1 lead after 4. The Braves came back to tie it in the 7th on that Jorge Soler home run. But Ryan McMahon, go ahead, RBI double was the difference in this one. Game 2, Braves snapped that 6-game losing streak, winning 11-8. Matt Olson, I mean, this was just, I could list all the Braves who were destroying baseballs, all the Rockies, but Matt Olson had 2 home runs, 6 driven in. Marcell Ozuna and Jorge Soler both homered again. Also, I just wanted to shout it out. Riley Pint is pitching again, but he allowed 2 runs in 1 inning. His ERA is 13.50. I know, but he's only thrown a couple of innings, and it's just cool to see him back on a big league mound. Max Fried allowed 4 earned runs, a little bit concerning. Jack and I mentioned on the last pod, and a few Braves fans in our comment section hated it, but all we're doing is bringing up that he has now allowed 4 earned runs or more in 3 of his last 4 starts, but the Braves still went on to win that game. Game 3, Rockies win 9-8. Braves grabbed the early lead with Austin Riley and Travis d'Arnaud homers. Rockies battled back, but Braves score 5 in the 7th and 8. How did I write this down? Braves scored 5 in the 7th and the 8th, excuse me, off 2 home runs from Jorge Soler. Rockies put up 7 in the 8th inning on a Jake Cave home run and a bunch of hits from Charlie Blackmon, Ryan McMahon, and Brendan Rodgers to win it. Incredible 7-run comeback from the Rockies. Spencer Schwellenbach was good, 2 earned 7 Ks in his first career Coors start. But the Rockies battled and win the series, moving to 44-75. Braves fall to 61-56. Late into the Braves making the playoffs or not?
It's getting kind of shaky here, right? I mean, that's a backbreaking loss too. I mean, we'll see how they respond. And, I mean, you felt like after the game 2 where they just slug that they'd carry that momentum into game 3, and they did offensively, but to blow a 7-run lead, and I get that Coors, like anything can happen there, so you can kind of turn the page a little bit more easily, but you gotta win those games, man. Like, especially at this stage when things have been so ugly. That's one that I am very interested to see how the Braves bounce back from that one. On the flip side, yeah, it was 4 earned from Fried in game 2, but 9 Ks. I thought that was the sharpest he's looked since returning. So that was encouraging to a degree. Schwellenbach was fantastic, and he continues to be great. I mean, that ERA is at 3.95 now, and I think it's going to continue to drop and continue to drop. He looks like a bona fide big league middle of the rotation starter at the very least. So that's been really nice to see too. Like, they're throwing well. Hopefully just getting the cores, and they obviously swung it well overall. Hopefully that got the bats going a little bit, and we'll see how it carries over, into the next series. Seems like Soler's been a little bit of a spark, 2 home runs in that final game, and kind of back in that leadoff role where we saw him have some success in the past with them. So we'll see. But I mean, this is one where I could see it kind of starting a bit of a fall that they're already fallen. But like when you blow 7 runs at Coors, like, or just against the Rockies, sometimes that can be another one of those things that piles on. So I'm really interested to see how they respond.
It's tough, man. While you were talking, I was going on my phone and I'm looking at the wild card standings. I mean, the Braves 61-56. They're tied with the Mets right now. Now the Mets are down 1-0 against the Mariners in the 5th inning. Maybe they win that game, maybe they don't. But I mean, the wild card standings, as I'm sitting here just looking at it, Diamondbacks and the Padres are tied for the first 2 spots. Then the Braves and the Mets are tied, but the Cardinals and Giants are a game and a half behind. And the Braves and the Giants, they have a big time series coming up. So the Braves go straight from Coors to Oracle to take on the Giants, who have been winning a ton of baseball games lately. The Giants have won 7 of their last 10 games. So maybe they catch the Braves sleeping again and the Braves continue to fall, or the Braves make a statement in this series and show the rest of the National League, like, hey, we're still the Braves here.
Exactly.
I kind of lean towards the Giants, though. I'm not gonna lie.
This series, I know there's a lot of games left, but this series to me, I think it will kind of sway me one way or another. How they respond to the worst loss, I think, of their season is going to tell me, how I think the rest of the season is going to go for them.
100%. All right, let's talk Cubs, White Sox. We got a
Ugh.
two series that were just 2-game series, and then we'll throw to Arm Layton for his. All right, Cubs versus the White Sox. I think we all know exactly how these games went without even looking at the score. The Cubs swept. Game 1, Cubs win 7-6. Cubs grabbed a 7-0 lead on Ian Happ, Cody Bellinger, Isak Paredes, and Nico Horner home runs. Garrett Crochet, man, destroyed. 7 earned, 2 1/3. Still did have 5 Ks. White Sox did battle back. 2 home runs from Andrew Benintendi and a home run from Andrew Vaughn, but it just wasn't enough to get that win. Cubs win, and then they won again in game 2, 3-1. Classic Justin Steele, Mississippi fastball, our guy. 6 innings, no earned 8 Ks. Miguel Amaya had a 2-run single in the 8th to break a 1-1 tie, and Dansby Swanson had 2 hits the day. His wife Mallory won a gold medal. Cubs sweep and move to 59-60. White Sox fall to 28-91. The White Sox have lost 3 in a row, and they are currently again on another losing streak.
Did you say Andrew Benintendi 2 home runs?
2 home runs.
That's pretty crazy.
I almost didn't believe it when I saw it.
He has 2 homer games too this season, which is pretty funny considering that he's just been terrible all year long.
Worth the contract? Home runs come in bunches?
Worth every penny.
Yeah.
Crochet just looks checked. Like, I don't know what else to say. Like, and then we kind of felt that might happen given the way that everything happened up to the deadline, and then him basically mandating that he's not going to throw that much, if he goes to a contender, especially now. Why would you want to throw that much more for a team that's, 28-90? Is that where they're at now?
They are, no, you undersold them. They're 28-91.
Oh, my fault.
Yeah. Fault.
Like, I don't see why he should even throw much more the rest of the year. So I don't really have anything else to add. I mean, the Cubs, like, you expect them to go win these games, and they did. Not like even that convincingly.
I know,
but
convincing.
It was one major takeaway though, and I don't care who's on the mound right now. It was really nice to see Pete Crow Armstrong have 3 hits in game 1, including a triple. I mean, that guy needed a good game in the worst way, and it was just nice to see that happen. And I mean, Miguel Amaya, since making a slight swing adjustment, seems to have been really swinging it well. So that's another fun development too.
My big takeaway from the series is ESPN, I think it was the Sunday Night Baseball right before the game started. I'm not sure exactly when I saw it, but I was watching baseball on Sunday and I saw this graphic come up. Cubs are technically in the hunt. You know those graphics where it's like they show the wild card standings and then the teams in the hunt? Cubs are on there in the hunt. I love it.
They're in. How many out?
What do you mean how many out?
How many games out are they?
Let's do a quick check of the standings. So the Cubs are 59-60. They have won 8 of their last 10 games, and they're 3 games out of the wild card. That's in the hunt.
Oh, I mean, if they play the White Sox a bunch more, they're in great shape. But no, I mean, 3 games out's in the hunt. Even if you only got 10 games left, 3 games out's in the hunt. So that's the fun part about these expanded playoffs. Yes, some not great teams can sneak in, but some teams that have been really disappointing can get things going at the 11th hour and get rolling. So that's fun. I mean, who would have thought? It makes the Paredes trade even more exciting. It's not just for the future. Like, maybe it can help spark them right now.
And they're going up another big series on deck. Cubs Guardians. Guardians only have a few game lead over the Central. They split. You'll probably talk about that one in a minute. And then the Cubs are playing really good baseball. 2 teams going at each other. I can't wait to watch that series unfold. But let's talk about Cardinals Royals before I toss it over to you, Aram. Classic split series. Game 1, Cardinals win 8-5. Wilson Contreras, he was such a monster. 2 home runs, 1 to start the game, 1 to end the game. He went 3 for 4 with 4 RBIs. Alec Burleson homered and had 3 hits. He's just continuing a great season for the Cardinals, as did Brendan Donovan with a 3-hit day. But neither Michael Lorenzen nor Miles Michaelis threw very well, so no real starting pitchers to highlight there. It was all offense. And we moved to game 2. Royals win 8-3. The Royals offense just completely exploded. Bobby Witt Jr. had 2 hits, including a triple, and drove in 3. Salvador Perez hit a home run. MJ Melendez, Kyle Isbell both had multiple hits, but the starters, they did well. Michael Wacha, 7 innings, 2 earned, 6 Ks against his former team. Andre Palante, wasn't his fault that the Royals offense exploded. He went 5 2/3, only giving up 1 run and 4 strikeouts. It was the bullpen that did not help them. And it was a split series. Cardinals moved to 60 and 58. Royals moved to 65 and 53.
Not a ton on that one. Like, do you have any major takeaways?
Not really. We saw just a classic battle of Missouri teams. St. Louis, Missouri, Kansas City, Missouri. Is Kaufman in Missouri? Yeah, it is. It's not in Kansas.
No, yeah, it's in Missouri, I believe.
Battle of Missouri teams. Yeah, I mean, I didn't really have much takeaways from a 1-1 split where Michael Wacha pitched pretty well, Andre Palante pitched pretty well, bullpens didn't do very good, and these two teams just kind of said, "Hey, you want to just split and then leave?" And they were like, "Yeah." They left.
This, yeah, but again, this is also a situation though where, I mean, the Cardinals, they got to play a little bit better too if they want to create some more distance. So I'm very fascinated by what's going to happen, the next couple weeks for both of these teams, because in the Royals, every time I think they're going to slow down a little bit, they pick it back up, and that part's been nice. But the Cardinals, all of a sudden, they're what? They're only 2 games over 500. They've really struggled away at times. So that's the other side of it where I'm wondering, how does this Cardinals team fully put it together? Because the pitching just continues to look a little bit shaky for me. And I don't know if the offense has been fine, but I don't know if it can be good enough to like fully overcome that. But the Royals, like, I'm just starting to buy in more and more, because it seems like every time they have that rough game, they seem to bounce back, or a rough couple games, they seem to bounce back and really put up some impressive numbers offensively, and Wacha just continuing to give them some quality starts. Like, I'm buying in more and more on this Royals team. Not that I ever wasn't, but it's getting late, and they continue to just fend off any slowing down that you think you're going to see.
And the Reds take on the Cardinals in a series that starts this week, and the Cardinals
They
one
need
and a
that.
half games back of the wild card. Reds are 4.5. So depending on how that series goes, those wild card standings are going to look a lot different. So before we get to Arm's series, let's take a quick break.
All right, my turn. And we're going to start with, I think, one of the, if not the most entertaining series of the weekend, Phillies Diamondbacks.
Oh, yeah.
D-backs take 3 of 4, but I just love, of course, we're getting a rematch of, the NLCS last year, but I just love these two teams. I love watching these two teams, and the D-backs took 3 of 4. The Phillies have been struggling, and I think they ran into the wrong team. If you've been struggling a little bit and you want to get right, Game 1, Phillies take it 6-4, though, powered by a 4-run 6th inning. Jordan Montgomery looked good through 5. He had not given up a run, and then ran into trouble in the 6th, then had some interesting quotes where he said it felt like he was pitching in the jungle out there. So I'm sorry, man. Like, you should have probably checked the stadium out a little bit before, or I don't know. Open the roof for him. I don't know what's wrong, but I don't know if you could blame everything so far on that. Phillies get another random solid pitching performance from just another random guy. Kobe Allard goes 5 innings of 1-run ball, and that was enough for them to take that game 6-4. Game 2, D-backs bounce back. They win 3-2. Ryan Nelson outduels Zach Wheeler, goes 7 1/3, 3 hits, 2 earned runs, 1 walk, 9 Ks. But it was all about Adrian Del Castillo. That was the big story here. His first career home run is a walk-off. We were just talking about him probably getting called up for Gabriel Moreno once he went down. He also had 3 hits. Harper homered, but it was not enough. Again, 3-2 win for the D-backs. Game 3, D-backs trounced the Phillies 11-1. Ketel Marte, Corbin Carroll, Jake McCarthy, all homer. McCarthy homered twice. That guy's hitting 303, by the way. More on him in a moment. Marte and Gallen left with injuries. That was really scary. I was like, oh, here goes all the momentum. This is not good. Fortunately, Marte, just a contusion on his ankle, should be back as soon as early next week. Gallen was just cramps. So you can exhale if you are a Diamondbacks fan and really just a baseball fan, period. Glad that both those guys are fine. Ketel Marte is a righty this year, Peter. 360, 413, 707. That's a 204 WRC plus. He's Aaron Judge from the right side. And Jake McCarthy is hitting 303 with a WRC plus over 130. I mean, that's a huge development for them as well.
Yeah, my big takeaway is just Jake McCarthy has been just destroying baseballs. And it would be Ketel Marte has been destroying baseballs, but that seems to be the takeaway from every Diamondback series these days. But Jake McCarthy, you said it yourself. He's hitting 300. He's got an 822 OPS. He's got 16 steals. He's got 6 bombs. But what is just amazing to me is the fact that he's a left-handed hitter who is destroying left-handed pitching. He is slashing 354, 414, 456 for an 870 OPS against lefties. And if we're looking at how Jake McCarthy has done post All-Star break, slashing 367, 397, 633 for an OPS over 1,000. We're talking about Marte, he's been unbelievable all season long. We're talking about Corbin Carroll, who's put up back-to-back months with an OPS over 800. But Jake freaking McCarthy at the top of this lineup has been so good. The Diamondbacks in general have been so good. And I'm so glad that we broke down scariest playoff teams. We brought up the Diamondbacks because they are terrifying.
Yes. Especially with the way that they closed it out, too. They win 12-5 in the final game of the series. And Christopher Sanchez, who's been good overall, he's been running into a little bit more trouble lately, but they hung up 12 hits on Christopher Sanchez. I went back and looked if he's done this at any stage of his professional baseball career. He hasn't. That is the most hits he has ever given up in his professional career. Merrill Kelly, solid through 5 innings. He continues to just churn out solid starts. Adrian Del Castillo continues to rake. 3 for 5 in that game in the finale. He's 7 for 12 to start his big league career. You mentioned Corbin Carroll. He homers off the bench, and he has been really solid of late. McCarthy went 3 for 5, just continuing to put up those numbers that we talked about. So D-backs take that series 3 out of 4, statement, and they continue to stay hot. Weird series, especially the final game here, but Marlins versus Padres. Padres take 2 out of 3, and they were very close to potentially taking the third, but we'll get to that in a moment. 2 of the 3 games go into extra innings. And again, the third one almost did as well. Padres took game 1 6-2, but that was in extras. Jake Berger and Jonah Bryan homered, but it ended up being the Jackson Merrill show late, as the whole series, I think, was. Comes up big, late and close with a homer of his own, 3 hits on the day. The Marlins wasted 7 shutout innings from Edward Cabrera, blow the save in the 9th, and then give up 4 runs in the 10th. But Jackson Merrill with that clutch home run in the 8th, that has been a big story for them. And then the Padres bullpen holding up their end of the bargain the rest of the game and keeping them in it and then shutting the door. Game 2, Padres win 9-8. Matt Waldron got roughed up for 5 earned runs. Jake Berger homers again. Guess who hit a clutch homer late? Jackson Merrill, 2-run shot knotted it up at 7 in the 8th inning. And then Arias drove in the go-ahead run on an RBI ground out in the 10th. Again, dude, Jackson Merrill just seems to be built for it. So I was holding my breath when he got up in game 3 here, but he was not able to come up clutch in a left-on-left matchup against Nardi. Marlins won 7-6 in game 3. Max Meyer's longest start of his career, ran into a little bit of trouble at the end, but 6 1/3, gives up 4 earned runs. We teased it earlier before. Rough outing for Cease, 5 innings, 5 runs, only 2 were earned, just didn't look sharp. Jake Berger homered again. That's his 10th since the All-Star break. Nobody has more. Jesus Sanchez and Donovan Solano homered. We thought Ha-Sung Kim homered for a moment. It hit the top of the wall, and then Kyle Stowers hit it over the wall. Initially called a home run, gets changed to a ground rule double. I have no idea how that works or whatever that may be. Nardi takes advantage of the situation, gets an out, and then they end up going to George Soriano, who shuts the door, and the Marlins are able to salvage the series 7-6. So that went to extras. You know the Padres were probably sweeping that thing. So the Marlins grab 1. But what I see here from the Padres is you talk about a team that never quits. This is a team that never seems to quit, especially because of Jackson Merrill, who I have a larger conversation I want to get into about him. But it just seems to be a team that you can't put away. And the second they get back into it, that bullpen's going to shut the door. And that bullpen seems to be willing and able to keep them in ball games as well.
You do not want to face Jackson Merrill with the game on the line. The Padres outfielder with the game on the line is basically Aaron Judge at this point. Jackson Merrill, late and close, home runs since July 30th. He's got 4. Aaron Judge and Juan Soto all season, they have 4 each. Jackson Merrill, go ahead or game tying home runs in the 9th inning this season. He has 4. 27 MLB teams have 4 or less each. This guy deserves so much praise. And in any other year, he would be running away with the National League Rookie of the Year. But unfortunately, there's this guy in Pittsburgh who continues to shove, but did give up 4 earned in 6 innings. So maybe that race is getting a little bit closer. But regardless, Jackson Merrill, he's almost hitting 300. He's got 17 bombs. He's got 13 steals. He's got an OPS over 800. He's playing a new position and playing it really well. But Paul Skeens is on the...
So before I get to Reds Brewers, I just want to point out one thing. Just one thing. And things have to keep going in this direction. But remember when Spencer Strider lost? He was the runner-up to Michael Harris.
Yep.
Spencer Strider that year threw 131 innings. Is Paul Skeens, he's at 92 right now. Is Paul Skeens going to get to 131 innings?
How many starts does he probably have left? He probably has 9.
Does he get that many? Does he have that many left? Yeah, I guess.
I mean, think about it. Yeah, August and
if
September.
They let him go the whole way, yeah.
Yeah.
So
8 at like 6. He probably has like 40 to 50 innings left.
So
which is obviously around there.
Obviously, he's the favorite. I just want to point out that there's a chance here, especially if Merrill continues to play this way, because of the precedent I think that was set in that Braves position player versus pitcher voting breakdown there. 131 innings, a 2.67 ERA from Strider, but he punched out 202 and at a 1.83 FIP. Mike Harris that year, 297, 339, 514 slash line, 19 home runs, 20 stolen bases, a 137 WRC plus, and a 4.8 F4. Paul Skeens to this point, 92 innings pitched, a 2.25 ERA, a 2.73 FIP, and 115 strikeouts. So he's on track to potentially be better than what we saw from Strider, but a couple bad starts.
Yeah,
and
Skeens due for regression. The FIP is horrible. Almost
yeah,
2.75.
Cooked.
So good.
Jackson Merrill, 294, 326, 488 slash line, 17 home runs, 13 stolen bases. He's on pace to exceed Mike Harris's home run total and probably be right on the same track stolen base wise. 129 WRC plus is just shy. 3.5 F4 is going to be a little bit shy, but he's got plenty of time to get into the fours, and he could get close to the mid fours. So, of course, the glove's not going to be as elite as Mike Harris. That was a big reason why Harris kind of ran away with it. But I do think that there's some narrative aspect to this, which is shortstop prospect his entire career, goes into center, plays a solid center, and has been clutch and come up huge for a team that is going to probably make the playoffs here. I'm not saying Merrill over Skeens. Of course, it's not lost on me how historic Skeens' debut and beginning to his career has been. But I think this is more of an opportunity, and I think there's more of a chance for Merrill to make this happen than I think, maybe we and just people in general have been giving credit. I think this can actually happen.
You think Skeens is nervous?
I don't think that guy's ever been nervous in his life.
Yeah, I don't think so either. Let's move on to the next series.
Reds Brewers. Brewers take 2 out of 3. Game 1. Brewers win 8-2. Solid start from Aaron Savali, and they needed that. He goes 6 1/3, 2 earned runs. Not a very solid start from Carson Spires, who was roughed up for 8 earned runs. Willie Adames and Bryce Terang homered. So did Spencer Steer and Stu Fairchild, but that's all they got. So 8-2 for the Brewers. Just the whole offense doing what it does. Everybody, chipping in hits. Game 2, a lot different. Pitchers duel. Brewers win 1-0. Tobias Myers masterclass. Jack McMullen is in shambles. 7 1/3, 3 hits, no walks, 9 Ks. That ERA is down to 2.79. But you got to give some love to Nick Martinez as well, who was stellar for the Reds. 7 innings, 1 hit, no walks, 7 Ks. The difference was a Rhys Hoskins solo shot. That's it. 1-0 victory. Game 3, Reds salvaged the series. Big one for them to just be able to stay, within arm's reach of the hunt here in the wild card. They win 4-3. Teal Hall is back, though. That was nice to see for the Brewers. He was on the 60-day IL. It was a big-time build-up. Took some time in AAA. But the stuff looked really good. He went 4 2/3, 5 hits, 3 earned runs, 3 walks, but struck out 9. Lodolo, not the best, but did enough. 5 1/3, 3 earned runs. Tyler Stevenson homered, Joey Ortiz homered, but a Spencer Steer sac fly was the difference, and that was the salvage for the Reds. But the Brewers continue to just play some solid ball and take 2 out of 3.
My takeaway is Tobias Myers. He's such a fascinating guy because I've been looking into him a lot of the season. So If you aren't familiar, Tobias Myers, he is a 26-year-old pitcher for the Milwaukee Brewers. He was drafted in the 6th round of the Orioles. But now, of course, he's filling in good innings for the Brewers at a 2.79 ERA. But this guy's a kitchen sink guy. He's got 4-seamers, cutter, a slider, a changeup, a curveball, and he throws a sinker about 0.6% of the time. And when you look into his pitch mix, you're wondering, well, how does this guy have a 2.79 ERA when he's only throwing 93 miles an hour? That fastball, opponents are only hitting 2.09 against it. It's perfectly located all the time at the top of the zone. It's got to have a lot of ride to it. I'm not exactly sure the induced vertical break, but
it's good. I remember since he was a prospect, he's always been that IVB fastball guy. I just couldn't figure out what to throw off of that.
And the reason why I think he's an interesting pitcher moving forward as well is because his cutter, which he throws 23% of the time, opponents are hitting 342 against it. And that slider, opponents are only hitting 154. Changeup only 097. And then the curveball, opponents are hitting 417. So I really want to see next year what the Brewers do, and they look at his pitches and say, hey, you're throwing 6 pitches. Let's just throw your 4 best and see what happens here. Let's just go 4-seamer, slider, changeup, and then maybe we can mix in that sinker instead of the cutter, because it's so obvious the pitches that he should probably ditch. But even so, he's got an ERA below 3. So this is a guy who's wildly fascinating, and especially a guy to watch next year to see what the Brewers and he do in the offseason to kind of tweak some of those pitches.
Yeah, it's 19 inches of IVB from an average release height, which is about like 2.5, 3 inches more than average. So, I mean, that's already impressive. And then just figuring out, what works off of that. He also gets above average extension too. So it's just a tough fastball for hitters to pick up. Funny thing about Tobias Myers too, he's been a part of 2 very fascinating trades. 2017, he was traded by the Orioles to the Rays for Tim Beckham. And remember, Tim Beckham was the number 1 overall pick.
Yeah.
Way back. And then also, of course, was swapped for Junior Caminero.
Oh, yeah.
Traded by the Rays to the Guardians for Junior Caminero when he was a little complex prospect that didn't have much attention his way. But of course,
and the Guardians don't even get to keep Tobias Myers now. He's on the Brewers.
No. Yep.
Oh, no.
That's the funniest part. So that just shows you how hard these things can be sometimes from a scouting perspective, but part of 2 very interesting trades.
Also,
Guardians.
My last takeaway from the Brewers series, Jack McMullen eats shit. Brewers keep rolling.
Love it.
Oh, go ahead. Continue.
Speaking of Guardians versus Twins, a 2-2 split. Game 1, Twins win 4-2. Bailey Ober, great again. 6 innings.
He's so good. I don't know.
He's just so automatic, dude. He's just so consistent. 6 innings, no runs, 2 walks, 9 Ks. Carlos Santana and Ryan Jeffers homer. That really was the difference. Brian Rocchio also snuck in a home run, but not enough there. Game 2, Twins win 6-3. Varland and Cobb were both not good. And that was, I think that's kind of putting it nicely. But Naylor and Wallner both hit go-ahead 3-run shots. Difference was Wallner's came later, and that was the difference. They added another run later, but it didn't matter because Wallner's home run would have stood as the lead. Twins win that one again 6-3. Game 3, though, Guardians punch back. And even though Simeon Woods Richardson also really good again, Gavin Williams I would say you could say matched him. I think he outdueled him, even though it was 1 less inning. Woods Richardson goes 7 innings, 2 earned runs. Gavin Williams goes 6 innings, 1 earned run. Stephen Kwan and Bo Naylor both hit solo shots. That's all they needed, thanks to what Gavin Williams brought on the mound. Then game 4, Guardians win again, 5-3 to buy that split. Tanner Bybee, again, really good out there. So awesome to see him continue to churn out quality starts, even when he deals with some ailments here and there, has been pitching through it and has been really good. 5 2/3, 1 earned run. David Festa, after a really good start, battled some serious command issues in this one, only goes 3 1/3 innings. Byron Buxton hit 2 home runs, but he drove in all 3 of the runs for the Twins. So they needed more than that, especially when J-Ram and David Fry homer. David Fry really needed that homer. He's been slumping in the second half. Kwan, Rocchio, and Brennan each had RBI hits, and that was the difference. So nothing too crazy since we did have a 2-2 split, but this is also just 2 really good teams in the same division battling it out. And it was fun to see them, really fight back and forth here. It's going to be fun to see these teams continue to battle it out the rest of the year, whether they're playing against each other or, just trying to match each other in the win column.
Two takeaways, both with the Minnesota Twins. Number one, when a guy hits a home run, remember when they're rounding first base? Remember Edwin Encarnacion did this as he was rounding? My new favorite one is Byron Buxton whenever he goes yard and he goes this. And he's like
Yeah.
bringing it down like a train engine while he's like, when Byron Buxton starts yelling and he looks like a freaking train engine like that. That's getting me fired up. So love that from Buxton. Love the choo choo train right as he's rolling. My last takeaway for the Twins, this felt like this is the series. Like you got a 4-game series against the Guardians. You win the first two, you win the next two, you got a lead over the division, and then you drop 2 of them. And in the midst of all this, even a few games before, just all sprinkled in, Joe Ryan goes down. Brooks Lee goes down. Brock Stewart goes down. Correa is still hurt. Like, damn it.
And then their top prospect also got hurt.
Just
I bought his Bowman Chrome auto, Luke Keyshaw.
Yeah.
I bought his Bowman Chrome auto and like a pretty good one. The day before it was announced that he's going to undergo Tommy John surgery. And I know he'd been playing through it for a while. So bad timing on my part and just brutal injury luck for the Twins there from top to bottom. But I mean, they really could have used one of those final 2 to grab a little bit, gain a little bit of ground. But the flip side is, it's never easy to play the Guardians. And at the very least, they didn't lose any ground. They did split there despite all of the injuries and unfortunate situations.
It's also a testament to the Guardians.
Yeah.
I mean, they were not playing good baseball going into this. You lose the first 2 games, could have easily gotten away from you.
Yep.
What do? They go win the next 2. That's Guardians Nation right there. So it's like on the flip side for the Twins, it's also the same for the Guardians. Like they do not get beat very often. So if you got them on the ropes, you have to finish them. And also Emmanuel Clase.
That's it. His ERA is down to 0.66. That's the thing. Once they get a lead, you're not getting back into it.
And that last inning, the 5-3 one in game 4 where he got that save, I watched that entire inning. You got 3 straight hits, bases loaded. I'm like, all right, here come the Twins. Right? This is the series. This is where they win. This is where they go up 3-4. They finally take down the beast that is Emmanuel Clase. What does he do? Strike out Willie Castro. Then he gets a ground ball double play out of the inning, win the game. And I'm like, yeah, that's Emmanuel Clase right there. Doesn't really matter if you got bases loaded, no outs, because he's going to keep throwing that cutter. It was a 3-2 pitch to Willie Castro. And I'm literally telling myself, I'm like, Clase, throw an inside cutter. You're either going to get a ground ball or you're going to get a strikeout. Throws it exactly perfectly. 99 right on the black. Sit down, Willie Castro. Just
what are you gonna do?
So good. What are you gonna do? I mean, it's impossible.
And if Gavin Williams has been excellent. Of late, he had one bad start mixed in, but he's been excellent overall. If Gavin Williams is giving you 6 strong like that, you only need to score 2 runs, and that's exactly what happened in Game 3, right? Like that's all you need is Gavin Williams or any of your pitchers. They give you 6 strong, you score a couple runs, and you're gonna win the vast majority of those ball games. So that's been nice to see. And Brian Roquillo starting to heat up a little bit. It's relative here, but anything from him and in the shortstop position, they will take. Couple more here. Tigers versus Giants. Giants take 2 out of 3 in the series. Giants won the first game 3-2. Bo Brisky was nasty as an opener. 3 innings pitched, no hits, 5 Ks. And then Kenta Maeda as a piggyback was actually solid, as good as he's probably looked all year. But Robbie Ray on the other side continues to throw well, and it's been a big reason why I think this Giants team has been able to stay afloat and kind of get rolling along with Blake Snell. 6 innings pitched, 2 earned runs, 7 strikeouts. They were down 2-0 in the 7th and scored a run in each of the 7th, 8th, and 9th to win, shutting it down as well, which was huge, especially amidst dealing with the Camilo Doval situation, sending him back to AAA. Reports are that he's been very frustrating to deal with. So it was beyond just the performance on the field. It was also, I think the clubhouse and a clubhouse decision there too. They shut the door, they win there, and then they win another one. They win game 2, 3-1. Logan Webb does his thing. 7 innings pitched of 1-run ball with 8 Ks. A Brett Wisely 2 RBI double was the difference. That's all they needed. And the Giants are kind of cut from a similar cloth. Of course, they don't have the lights out closer right now, but you put up a couple runs when you have the right guys on the mound, you can win ball games. They're not always going to win the slugfest, though. And unfortunately, game 3, a battle of rookie pitchers, turned into a little bit more of a slugfest. Hayden Birdsong and Kyler Montero both allowed 5 earned runs, and the Tigers end up winning that one. The Tigers end up winning that one by 1. Matt Chapman had 3 hits and drove in 3, but couldn't overcome the early deficit because it just wasn't enough. Vierling homered. and also added an RBI double. And Dylan Dingler launched his first career home run. Remember, former first-round pick, has battled a ton of injuries throughout his minor league career. But I've been really impressed with Dylan Dingler. Made some swing adjustments, looks great defensively. I think this could be a nice development for the Tigers as well. But yeah, it seems like the Giants are more built to win those 3-2, 3-1 games. Not going to win those more higher slugging games when you give up 5 earned runs. And just Birdsong wasn't great.
Yeah. I didn't have a ton of takeaways from this series overall. I thought the Giants, took care of business a little bit, but I guess my only takeaway is if I'm a Tigers fan, like I'm enjoying this current iteration of the Tigers lineup because especially without Riley Green, like you're really seeing guys every day who could potentially be a part of your core a few years down the line. Like Cole Keith, we know, but watching Justin Henry Malloy, watching Dylan Dingler, watching Parker Meadows, like these guys, they're not taking the world by storm, but I'm sure Tigers fans can see things that they like, that they don't like, areas of improvement in order to get next year. Like I think these reps for these players in particular are so key right now to move forward in next year. Just get those reps under you so you're not such a rookie next year.
Yeah.
And when April comes around, like you're not just starting to get your feet wet, like you kind of already got the feet wet and now you can hit the ground running. So I think if I'm a Tigers fan, like the wins are not coming. I know you're 56 and 63. I know that you see the Royals and you see the Twins, you see the Guardians kind of extending themselves out of the race while you're kind of falling. But at the end of the day, like, I don't think Tigers fans expected them to win the division this year. I know there was a little bit of hype preseason, but the window is opening and there are some pieces here that I do like.
I think to support your argument or just your assertion there, I should say, is Colt Keith. Look at how ugly it was in the first half of the season and then what he's been doing since then. So you can go into next year feeling really good about what you're getting from Colt Keith and really good about what you're getting from a Kerry Carpenter who, really took a leap this year. And I just watched him. He looks like he's coming back to form in AAA right now in a rehab assignment. And, a lot of these younger guys, Parker Meadows has looked much better since coming back up from AAA. So yeah, to your point, they're getting a lot of that development out of the way so that you can look at next year and say, hey, we've got a chance with this club and these guys can kind of take a step in the right direction. One quick correction was only 4 earned from Keider Montero, 5 earned from Birdsong. Last one is, we got 2 more.
2 more.
We got Pirates, Dodgers, and then we got Mets, Mariners, which just got a final game here, just ended up opening up quite a bit. But the Dodgers swept the Pirates here, and that's a backbreaker for the Pirates because they were kind of clinging to life in this wild card conversation. And this one definitely hurts. Game 1, Dodgers win 9-5. Jack Flaherty allows 4 earned, but still gives them 110 pitches and goes deep into the ball game. Strikes out 10. Mitch Keller just got absolutely destroyed. 7 earned runs. I mean, you can't blame him, though. Like Freddie Freeman and Shohei Ohtani go deep. Kike Hernandez also mixed in a homer. Ohtani's homer went 448 feet. Game 2, Dodgers win 4-1. Gavin Lux drove in 3. He's the difference. Man, if he can do anything for them, that would be huge. Teoscar also homered. But how about this? I have one positive. Ke'Bryan Hayes. He homered. Ke'Bryan Hayes homered.
Needed it.
So, yeah, there you go. So if you're going to get anything out of this sweep, Ke'Bryan Hayes homered. Game 3, part of the reason why we waited a little bit longer to record. This one was a little bit longer than we thought. Dodgers win 6-5 in 10 innings. Glass now, 7 innings, 2 earned runs. How about Andrew McCutchen? 2 homers, including a 2-run shot to tie it in the 8th. But after they got a lead with the ghost runner at second base, they couldn't hold it down. David Bednar could not shut the door in the 10th. Kike Hernandez with an RBI double before Teoscar walked it off with the game-winning hit. Bednar's ERA up to 5.75. Kike had 3 hits. He's really starting to heat up, and the Dodgers just doing their thing with that 3-game sweep.
I think it's officially time to look at Shohei Ohtani and say, are you cooked? He's got a 701 OPS in August. And this is Shohei Ohtani's definition of cooked. Post All-Star break, he's slashing 217, 320, 530 for an 850 OPS.
This is terrible.
I just wanted to preface it. This is the worst I've seen Ohtani hit. in the past couple of years.
Yeah, say
And he's got an
besides when
850
he
OPS.
yeah, first came up.
Yeah. I mean, he still has 6 homers in his 83 at bats post All-Star break, but I did wanted to bring it up because he is in a slump right now, and it's probably the last time we'll ever get to say that this year. So I wanted to say
Yep.
he's in a slump right now.
Yeah. And when I thought maybe he'd break out of it a little bit more with that 448 in game 1, and then just not quite as sharp in games 2 and 3, but they still win.
Yeah,
and that's the craziest part. And Mookie,
he's only hitting 1 home run a series. I mean,
yeah. It's losing pace here. And again, the Dodgers sweeping when Ohtani's not performing and Mookie on the way, and all these things working in their favor. And our guy Walker Buehler looking great in his rehab assignment, 5 strong, where the stuff looked really sharp. Be nice for them to get him back. One other storyline that's unfortunate though in this series is River Ryan was fantastic through 4 innings, and unfortunately had to exit with an elbow issue. And sounds like it's not good. Sounds like he's going to miss the rest of the season. Remember, he had a delayed start to the season because of a shoulder issue. So a lot of time that coincides with an elbow issue, and that seems to be the case here. Hopefully better news coming with River Ryan, but it sounds like they already know that it's not very good. And that part really stinks because he has been phenomenal in his debut with the Dodgers. So it stunk to see him leave. And again, though, they still overcome that and win that ball game as well. Last but not least, Mets and Mariners. A lot of times we're not able to kind of say what the series wraps up as. I can confidently say as the 6th inning is over that this was probably a Mariners sweep. Mariners just did what they do through the first 2 games. Pitch. Mets didn't score in either of the first 2 games. Game 1, 6-0. Mariners win 6-0. Bryce Young. I'm in football mode all of a sudden. Bryce Miller goes 6 innings, 3 hits, no runs, 6 Ks. I mean, not much you can do about that. Ryan Bliss homers, who ends up getting optioned later on in the series. Leo Rivas and Cal Raleigh also driving runs. Raleigh drove in 2, but again, 1 run would have been all they needed thanks to Bryce Miller and the bullpen. Then game 2, Mariners win 4-0. How about dominance from Logan Gilbert, who lowers his ERA to 2.91, 7 innings, 3 hits, no runs, 1 walk, 6 Ks. Randy Arozarena and Justin Turner have 2 hits each. Love to see Turner swinging it pretty well. And of course, Randy being that spark that you want from him. I mean, 18 consecutive innings without giving up a run. And then they went 5 more innings in this Sunday night baseball game. So 23 straight innings without allowing a run until Jeff McNeil had homered in the 6th. Still, the Mariners absolutely blitzed the Mets later on, putting up 6 runs in the 6th as the game is still going on as we're recording it. Luis Severino was fine in the start, went 5 innings, 4 runs, 8 Ks, but they really got to Ryan Stanek, 4 earned runs there, and then Adam Ottavino, 2 earned runs there. Luis Castillo shoved. So it really just was a story of their 3-headed monster. These pitchers just dominating for them. Luis Castillo, 6 innings, 4 hits, 1 run, 2 walks, 9 Ks. And again, as we are recording here, it's 10-1. Jorge Polanco homered, Cal Raleigh homered, then Cal Raleigh homered again. So Raleigh really, really heating up here. And the Mariners, they needed to match what the Astros were doing, and they did just that. So looks like we're gonna have a fun finish to the year in the AL West.
Yeah, my takeaway is kind of lame because I'm reiterating the same thing because it just blows my mind every time that as the Astros keep winning, so do the Mariners. As the Braves keep losing, so do the Mets, right?
Yeah.
It's like they're right in line with each other. No team can just be like, all right, we're going to win this series while our foe on the other side loses. No, they just keep keeping pace with each other. That's why I just cannot wait. I cannot wait for the rest of the season. Like these races, there's so many good ones scattered throughout the league, and we're going to continue to talk about them here on the Just Baseball Show. Hopefully everybody enjoyed the weekend roundup. You got to do it with the fingers. I'll do the roundup again. The weekend, do it with the fingers. Roundup. Hopefully everybody enjoyed it. If you did, can you leave a 5-star review on Spotify or Apple Podcasts? It is the best way to support this show. While also leaving a written review, we would greatly, greatly appreciate it. Shout out the new Just Baseball hat. Just got it in the mail. It's fresh as shit. My other one, it has been having times at the bottom of my backpack. It has been hooked onto my backpack.
That one needed to be retired, man.
Under, some planes.
That looked like, so I was at the National and they were auctioning off Babe Ruth's hat from like the 1927 World Series or whatever. And like, It didn't look much worse than yours.
And here's why I'm hesitant to bring that up, because I don't want people to think that it's because of the quality of the hat. No, it's
No,
just because
it's actually absurd that it made it that long.
I've had it for like 2 years, and I just drag it to every place I go to, and it's always just getting crunched, and it's got dirt all over it from the backfields in Florida that I just can't get off because I think I like sat on it, or I've
I've
just
sat on
destroyed
it.
this hat.
I've
Yeah.
sat on it multiple times. That thing's been through it all, dude.
They've been through it all. Make sure to go check out our merch store where you can get yourself a hat. You can get some athletic tees. We also have a new line of t-shirts that are just fantastic. I actually got a couple DMs this weekend of people trying to buy them. They did. Someone got a Yankee one. They're fire. So did I. Go get yours in the episode description. And remember, code just baseball on BetMGM, code just baseball on Game Time as well. For Arm Layden, I am Peter Oppel. We will be back on Tuesday or Monday or whatever you're listening. We're going to be back every single day of this week.
Yes.
And with that, thank you, everybody.